Did you have a role in the Nike Foundation supporting Girl Effect, or were you part of that at all?
Yes, and actually, the woman who heads up the Nike Foundation, she and I were just in contact over the last couple of days, and I remember, and she used to lead the corporate responsibility at Nike. Really looking at the compliance aspect and policy aspect primarily, versus the product creation, sustainability, and what we were creating. And in the early days, when she was thinking about what this foundation could look like, what its mission could be, we would go out to dinner and we would share ideas on that. And about two years into the creation of the foundation is when I let the company president know that I was going to leave Nike and that I wanted one last opportunity at Nike, which was to work within the foundation for a year to go deep into the social aspect of sustainability before I launched into my own business. And so Nike essentially got a 2.5 year notice that I was leaving. And so the last year I served as senior advisor to the Nike Foundation, and it was during that time and my responsibility to help pull together the seminal piece of research on the status of adolescent girls and young women. And we worked with the Center for Global Development, the International Center for Research on Women, and the Population Council. And those three entities really created just an amazing piece of research on, the status of 600 million invisible adolescent girls and young women in the least developed countries in the world, and all the causes for the systemic and abject cyclical poverty in which they live. And so from that report, we wanted to raise this issue and really get it on the global radar for the world leaders at the World Economic Forum in Davos. And so this would have been January of 2008. So we organized an event there, taking the basis of the report, and we summarized it into 10 actions that global leaders could take to change the course of these girls and young women's futures. And we had about 135, 140 leaders show up at this session. We had Queen Rania, who was kind of the key spokesperson for this. And out of that session, we got about 40 pledges for business leaders, country leaders, world leaders to take action. And that was very encouraging to us. Out of that, when we came back, we thought, how do we translate this very complex, detailed report and these 10 actions that we asked business and world leaders to take into something that could engage people around the world, no matter where you sat? And so we worked with Wyden and Kennedy, and that's where the Girl Effect was created. And the approach that we took was, let's give them some facts. So, how do you connect with them, at the head level? Let's, show the impact that this has on the girls and women, both positive and negative. So really, connect with them at an emotional level. And then at the end of the day, or at the end of the video, there was a mechanism that they could tap into and get involved in a project. They could just follow the information. They could donate. So there were multiple ways where, they could now get involved with their hands. And it has been so incredibly successful. And the video was just updated a few months ago. And it's continued to be on the agenda at the World Economic Forum ever since.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it was an amazing, amazing effort to be involved in. And it also showed the disconnection between the work of sustainability at the corporate level, not just within Nike, and what's happening in the social dimension of sustainability and all the opportunities to connect those two to really, really transform how we operate and create systemic change in the world.
Well, have you had personal firsthand experience working in any emerging nations with women? Have you had a chance to do that?
I would say the one that comes to mind is I had the opportunity to travel to a very small village in India outside of Solapur, and it was the Nike Foundation. We had a representative from Mercy Corps, and then also from BP, from their Alternative Innovation Division, and we were and through BP and Mercy Corps, they had come up with this new technology that allowed them to burn biofuels for cooking, these cooking stoves that they also designed, because one of the issues, and again, from a systemic perspective, one of the reasons girls are not in school is because they are increasingly having to go further and further and further away from home in search of wood,
Yes.
in search of clean water.
Yes.
So that is their job.
Yep.
And what we found was so much of the development aid was either going to boys, if it was youth oriented, or it was going to older women if it was gender oriented. And so, these girls were literally invisible. But then also, so much of the money was going to education. And, you could build all the schools you wanted. But if they were still being married off at 10 years, school didn't matter. If they had to, be out in search of wood or water, it didn't matter. So that's why we wanted to really explode the picture of all the things and at critical transition points in their life that really took them off this path of someday entering the formal economy. And so this technology that BP and Mercy Corps had come up with around the stoves and the biofuels, it created not just an opportunity for them to have cleaner and more accessible cooking tools, but also it helped create local businesses that they could run. So it was an example of a prototype that really started to address multiple issues, and I would say that was one of the most hands-on experiences that I had. And then also, just being invited into the slums of Mumbai and sitting down with some of the families there, especially the women, and just hearing their stories and really the celebration of life, which I didn't expect. So there's a great documentary that just came out by a woman named Lucy Walker called Wasteland. Have you seen that?
I've heard about it. I have not seen it yet.
You must watch that. It has so many analogs to what my experience was in Mumbai and the slums of Mumbai. This actually takes place in Sao Paulo, and what is considered the largest dump in the world, and the possibilities of what can happen.
Good. Well, then I'll add it to my immediate list.
Immediate. It is amazing.
I will. You're the second person just in the last 2 days who's said that.
Great.